freedom without land means nothing. Freedom without, when we are still living under very inhuman conditions in the shack settlements where there's no access to basic services. People are still fighting to have access to sanitation in this country 29 years later into so-called democracy. So we have nothing to celebrate. We cannot fool ourselves and celebrate fake freedom.
April 27th is commemorated as Freedom Day in South Africa. It marks the first elections with universal voting rights after the fall of white supremacist apartheid rule 29 years ago. However, for South Africa's socialist militant shack dwellers movement, Abahlali baseMjondolo, the occasion is a day of mourning, an expression of how poor and otherwise marginalized communities in the country remain profoundly unfree. Abahlali baseMjondolo's General Secretary Thapelo Mohapi talks about the true meaning of freedom for the masses of South Africa.
The freedom that we have today is for a few black elites. It's not for every one of us. So when the president of the country addresses the nation and say that we are free, we actually say that we are not free because we don't have access to land. More people are unemployed in this country. Young people are still, there's hunger, there's starvation. People are still suffering. So we have nothing to celebrate when we are still living in shacks of indignity, where our dignity has not been recognized as a human being. We feel like we do not exist in the eyes of this government, and therefore we can't really fool ourselves and escort 2-3 men who are saying that they are free when they are actually free. So this is a freedom day for the elites, not the poor and marginalized in the shack settlements. Well, land is still a critical question in this country. A few individuals in this country owns more land than the majority of the impoverished in this country. We do not have well allocated land as black people. We still do not have access for land for farming so that we could eat and survive. So Abahlali baseMjondolo have created its own food sovereignty campaigns where we are encouraging people to actually grow their own food. This is growing food from below. This is democratization of food so that everyone can have access to food. We understand that the capitalist system is meant to starve us. It is only interested in making profit. Food has been used for profit. Land has been used for profit. And therefore, we as Abahlali baseMjondolo are saying the social value of the land must come before its commercial value. In other words, land must be used for the benefit of the people before it can be used for profit. The capitalist system has made it their point to ensure that we continue to be marginalized by not giving access to land to those who are marginalized like ourselves in the shack settlements.
This year, Abahlali marked on Freedom Day with 3 days of mobilizations organizing under its present slogan of land, housing, dignity. The right to land is inseparable from the right to housing, which is enshrined in South Africa's constitution, drawn up by the very parliament that was elected on Freedom Day in 1994. Occupation has been used by the ABM not only to provide housing but to realize other rights guaranteed by the Constitution but still denied in practice. This is visible in its land settlements, including the Ikanana commune in Cato Manor.
Well, the movement continues to grow despite the repressions and attack and assassinations that we are facing. Ikanana is one of the examples of how land should be used and what the movement stands for. The commune at the point in time has a food gardening where the food is communally shared by the community in a democratic process in the Frans Fanon school. The poultry chicken is used for having to feed people within the commune, particularly those who are vulnerable. The families that are headed by women, families that are headed by children, are actually benefited from this commune. We also have a political school which we named after the great Frans Fanon school, where people are taught politically how to organize from below, because it is only when the masses of the people are organized from below that we can change the situation and the status quo of corruption that we are facing. Imperialism has made the world to be a selfish place, and interest is only about capital and profits. And Ekenana is where people are living in equality, people are actually sharing what they have, but people are working the land, because we need to work the land in order for the benefit of the poor and marginalized in this country. And that is the only way. So communes are the only way where we can actually sustain ourselves and survive as the poorest of the poor.
The movement is continuing to grow and resist despite the repeated attacks it is facing by the ruling regime. Since the Ikanana commune was established in 2018, its residents have come under attack several times by goons as well as by police and armed private security personnel who accompanied the several illegal demolition drives by the local municipality ruled by the African National Congress.
Well, the movement continues to grow despite the repressions that we are facing. We've had a very successful march in Durban, which was attended by close to 10,000 people on the streets in Durban, who defied the fact that we are free in this country, who defied the ANC when the ANC is saying that we are free in this country. Today we are in Germiston. Today we're going to have a good turnout. As you can see, people are going to come. People have had enough of the lies that they've been told by the neoliberal ANC government. And yesterday we've had a very successful march in the center of a small town in Volklast in Mpumalanga, where people put the small town into a standstill. Our cries are clear that we cannot say we are free when we don't have access to land. We cannot say we are free when our dignity is not recognized. We are not free when democratic processes are not taking place in this country, where the poor and marginalized are listened to and the poor and the marginalized are taken care of. And we want to be part of the economy in this country. And it's only a socialist government can do that. And we need to get rid of the capitalist system in order to reach a point where we can actually say that the marginalized can be part of the economic activities that are taking place in this country. Well, land has always been at the center of it. We want land to be released immediately for the impoverished, well-located land for urban planning from below. We want the current Minister of Police to be removed, because he's the minister of the elites. He's the minister that does not care about the poor and marginalized. Today, Abahlali have lost 24 activists, and we've only had one arrest. And it was 2 ward councillors of the ANC that have been arrested for the murder of Tulindlovu. So we can see that the minister is only interested in investigating matters where political elites are involved. When it comes to poor and marginalized, we are not, those cases are not being investigated. But furthermore, last year we've lost 4 activists. We've lost Comrade Lindogu Mnguni, who was a socialist, who believed in socialism, who is the founder of the Ekenana commune, and nothing has been done to investigate the matter. We've lost the deputy chairperson of the branch, Ayanda Ngila, who was assassinated by hitmen, and also we have not received any justice. We've lost the women's league leader in the branch, somebody who was very influential in actually creating the communes and being involved in the soup kitchen, in ensuring that people were eating in the commune and that no one goes to sleep without food. And she was assassinated in a very tragic way in the commune. And we've lost Siyabonga Mangele, who was shot by police, South African police, who continue to use violence against the poor. So the police are not protecting the poor. Instead, they are using violence against the poor. So what kind of a state are we in? How can we say we're free if that happens on this day? So we are saying that freedom was fought for, but freedom was betrayed. Freedom was fought for by Oliver Tambo, by Chrysan. But the current leadership of the ANC is rotten to the core. They are corrupt, they are selfish, and their only interest is to enrich themselves and their family. They don't care about the people on the ground. And therefore we cannot celebrate today. We are mourning the freedom that was betrayed by the current ANC leadership that we have.